What if I told you that one book, banned for centuries, has shaped the minds of the most ruthless leaders in history? Stalin read it. Napoleon studied it. Even modern politicians, CEOs, and world leaders secretly use its lessons to rise to power and stay there. This book isn't about fairness. It's not about playing by the rules. It's about winning at any cost. Its name, The Prince. Written by Niccolò Machiavelli. The Prince is the most feared and misunderstood guide to power ever written. It teaches how to manipulate, control, and dominate. And the worst part, it still works today. The Prince is a blueprint for power, a manual for control, a guide on how to rise to the top and stay there. This book doesn't create tyrants. It reveals how they think. And if you understand its lessons, you'll never be manipulated again. In this series, we will break down the most powerful and controversial lessons from The Prince. Lessons that are still used by the powerful today. By the end, you will see the world differently. You will see through political deception, corporate manipulation, and social control. And most importantly, you will know how power truly works. For over 200 years, it was banned, demonized, and feared. The Catholic Church placed it on the index of prohibited books. Politicians condemned it. Some even wanted every copy burned. In this video, we're breaking down the real lessons of The Prince, the ones they don't want you to know. By the end, you'll understand why this book was banned for centuries, and why those in power still use it to this day. Let's begin. Power is not given. It is taken. Machiavelli opens The Prince with a brutal truth. Power is not something you wait for. Power is something you take. This is the first and most important lesson. Nobody is coming to hand you control. Machiavelli divides rulers into two types: those who inherit power, princes, kings, aristocrats; those who seize power, conquerors, revolutionaries, self-made leaders. The first group relies on luck. The second group creates their own luck. Machiavelli makes one thing clear: if you want to rise, you cannot wait for permission. Business leaders don't wait to be chosen. They build empires. Successful people don't wait for opportunities. They create them. Strong leaders don't wait for power. They take it. But taking power is only the beginning. The real challenge, keeping it. And that leads to Machiavelli's second lesson, one of the most brutal and controversial ideas in the book. It is better to be feared than loved. This is Machiavelli's most famous and most misunderstood idea. If one has to choose, it is far safer to be feared than loved. At first, this sounds harsh, but Machiavelli isn't telling rulers to be cruel for no reason. His point is logical. Love is unreliable. People's loyalty fades when times get tough. Fear lasts. As long as people respect your strength, they won't betray you. Think of the most powerful figures in history: Julius Caesar, Napoleon, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk. Were they loved? Maybe. But more importantly, they were feared. Machiavelli isn't saying to be a tyrant. He warns against hatred, because hatred leads to rebellion. But fear mixed with respect, that's unbreakable. Modern leaders use this all the time. CEOs demand excellence. They aren't always nice, but they earn respect. Politicians use fear. They warn about enemies, crises, or dangers to maintain power. Influencers create dominance. They control narratives, making people afraid to challenge them. The key is balance. Too much kindness makes you weak. Too much cruelty makes you hated. But if people respect and fear you just enough, you control the game. And that leads to the next Machiavellian principle. Morality is a tool, not a rule. Morality is a tool, not a rule. Most people believe that goodness leads to success, that playing by the rules, being fair, and staying honest will guarantee power and respect. Machiavelli destroys this illusion. He argues that morality is not a fixed law. It is a tool used by the powerful to serve their interests. Here's what he means. The strong do not follow morality. They shape it. The weak believe in absolute morality. The strong use it when convenient. When morality helps you gain power, use it. When it weakens you, abandon it. This is why history is filled with ruthless leaders who were praised as heroes. Julius Caesar betrayed Rome's democracy, yet he was called a savior. Winston Churchill made brutal decisions, yet he is seen as a hero. Tech billionaires crush competition, yet they are called innovators. The masses believe in good and evil. The powerful believe in strategy. Machiavelli warns that a ruler who is too honest, too kind, and too principled will be crushed by those who are not. Does this mean you should be evil? Number. It means you must understand. Power does not reward morality. It rewards results. Use morality when it strengthens your position. Abandon it when it weakens you. This is why leaders lie, corporations manipulate, and governments break their own rules. And that brings us to the next lesson, perhaps the most cunning and dangerous of all. Part 4. Appearances are more important than reality. If you cannot always be good, at least appear to be good. This single sentence explains modern politics, business, and power better than anything else. Machiavelli understood that people do not follow reality. They follow perception. A leader doesn't have to be good. They just have to look good. A corrupt politician can seem like a man of the people. A ruthless businessman can brand himself as a visionary. A weak leader can put on the mask of strength. The world does not reward truth. It rewards perception. Machiavelli gives clear advice. Always control your image. If you must do something ruthless, hide it. If you must deceive people, make them believe it's for their own good. If you must betray someone, make it look like fate, not your choice. This is how modern leaders survive. Governments spin failures into victories. Corporations hide their corruption behind marketing. Celebrities craft perfect images while living chaotic lives. The lesson is simple. People believe what they see, not what is true. And if you control what they see, you control everything. The ends justify the means. If there is one phrase that defines the prince, it's this: the ends justify the means. Machiavelli argues that morality, honesty, and fairness are secondary to results. What matters is winning. If lying secures your position, lie. If breaking promises strengthens your rule, break them. If eliminating an enemy keeps you in power, do it. This idea is why the prince was seen as evil for centuries. But before you dismiss it, ask yourself, do politicians keep their promises, or only when it benefits them? Do corporations care about ethics, or only when they are forced to? Do successful people follow all the rules, or do they bend them to win? History is filled with examples of leaders who did what was necessary, even if it wasn't right. Napoleon crowned himself emperor instead of following tradition. Steve Jobs manipulated markets to dominate the tech industry. Alexander the Great slaughtered enemies to build an empire. Were these actions ethical? Number? Were they effective? Absolutely. Machiavelli does not argue that all actions are justified. He warns that a ruler who is too weak to make hard choices will be destroyed. His advice: be willing to do what others will not. Because in the battle for power, those who hesitate lose. And that brings us to one of the most brutal but necessary lessons in the book. Part 6. Crush your enemies completely. A prince must destroy his enemies so that they cannot seek revenge. Machiavelli knew that half measures lead to downfall. If you punish an enemy but leave them alive, they will return stronger. If you fire a rival but let them stay in the industry, they will plot against you. If you weaken a threat but do not eliminate it, they will seek revenge. The powerful do not give second chances. This is why history's greatest rulers eliminated threats before they grew dangerous. Julius Caesar's enemies killed him because he showed mercy. Stalin removed anyone who might challenge his rule. Modern CEOs buy out competitors before they can rise. This principle applies everywhere. In business, kill competition early. In politics, remove rivals before they gain influence. In life, cut off toxic people before they destroy you. Machiavelli's warning is clear. If you allow an enemy to survive, you are giving them time to destroy you. It is harsh, but it is true. And in the final 2 lessons, we will uncover how to maintain power once you have it. Never depend on others for power. Machiavelli warns against the greatest weakness of all: dependence. A ruler must never put his fate in the hands of others. What does this mean? It means true power is self-sufficient. If you rely on allies to keep you in power, they will betray you. Mercenaries to fight your battles, they will abandon you. Luck to keep you successful, it will run out. Machiavelli despised rulers who depended on the goodwill of others. He saw them as weak, destined to be used and discarded. The lesson? Build your own wealth. Don't rely on favors. Create your own influence. Don't depend on popularity. Strengthen your own skills. Don't wait for someone to save you. History proves this again and again. Napoleon built his own empire. He did not rely on France's nobility. Steve Jobs did not trust market trends. He created them. Elon Musk does not wait for governments. He forces change. Machiavelli's advice is simple. Never be at the mercy of others. Control your own fate. And once you have secured power, you must learn how to rule wisely. That brings us to Machiavelli's final, and perhaps misunderstood lesson. Be both. A lion and a fox. Machiavelli says a ruler must master 2 animals, the lion and the fox. The lion represents strength. A ruler must be feared, decisive, and dominant. The fox represents cunning. A ruler must be deceptive, adaptable, and unpredictable. Why? Because strength alone is not enough. A ruler who is only a lion will be outwitted, and cunning alone is not enough. A ruler who is only a fox will be overpowered. The greatest leaders master both. Alexander the Great was a lion in battle and a fox in politics. Vladimir Putin presents himself as strong, but plays deception games. Warren Buffett appears friendly, but dominates the financial world. If you are only strong, you will be tricked. If you are only clever, you will be crushed. But if you learn to be both, you will become unstoppable. And that is why The Prince was banned. It does not teach kindness. It does not teach fairness. It teaches how the world really works. And those in power, they don't want you to know. Knowledge is power. Use it wisely. You now understand why the prince was feared. It exposes the truth about power. It reveals how leaders rise and how the weak fall. But here's the real question. Will you use this knowledge or ignore it? Because Machiavelli's lessons are still used today by governments, by corporations, by the rich. And if you don't understand these strategies, you will be controlled by them. So the choice is yours. Remain blind to power or master it. If you're ready to see the world as it truly is, subscribe to Real Stoics for more insights that others are afraid to share.